let's actually wrap up.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you can hear me better now. I hope you can hear me better. Is it possible? Can we? So, I hope the voice is coming out now. I hope it is coming out now because we have to just start afresh. I can't believe that. I can't believe that I have to start afresh. So greetings my people, wherever you are joining from, kindly share the video. Don't forget to like the video because when you like the video, the algorithm will do the sharing more. We are here to talk about the military coup that took place in Madagascar and the response of the African Union to that military takeover. Because when I actually view that, scenario, when I view what happened or transpired in Madagascar, I wouldn't say it is a military takeover. It is just people revolted against a bad leadership, and when they revolted against bad leadership, the bad leadership apparently did not have military behind him. That's why the people were revolting. When the military were asked to actually shoot at the people or stop them, the protest, the military instead stood in solidarity with those protesting. That's what they did. And eventually this protest now led to the president of Madagascar fleeing the country. Not only that he fled the country, the military, leader is going to be sworn in anytime soon, if it's not happened already, due to time, understanding time difference. So in this regard, it is not the case that is coming out of it. It is not the military takeover coming out of Madagascar that is very important. The developing story thereof is the response of the African Union. So the response of the African Union is what actually made me question many things about African Union, because why? The African Union, ever since its establishment in 2002, July 9, we have been trying to understand exactly what has been the role of African Union and how has it ever achieved its aim and objective prior to its establishment. We've been talking about African unity, Pan-African, unity, Pan-Africanization, or all this. There is Pan-African movement. Some of them are members of this African Union. So we've been talking about that. We've been talking about a lot that is also impossible, especially this Pan-African movement that we see all the time because of the external influence. Now the coup, the so-called military coup that African Union perceived, you and I knows that it is not a direct military coup. It was the people who decided to rise up and take over that which they believe it is their right. Democracy. Power belongs to the people, and power can be granted by the people. Now look at it. They protested, they decided to install the military leader, and now African Union has suspended Madagascar from its membership. They just suspended Madagascar. Reason for suspending of Madagascar is because, of course, the military takeover. Now, which begs the question, what is the role of African Union? Is African Union there for the benefit of the people of Africa, or is African Union there to satisfy their European counterpart? Think about it. The military takeover in Burkina Faso, or Burkina, that's the current name, Burkina. I don't think they still add Faso. So, if the military takeover in Burkina is now giving them the sense of belonging, the people of Burkina, the masses of Burkina is actually having that sense of belonging, and the raw materials coming from Burkina is now being utilized, not being sold and receive back, to buy back the finished product. They have now understood the value of their raw materials, that they have now reserves of some of these raw materials. Their plan is going to basically catapult Africa to the, especially them that understand development. It's going to send them far from every other African country. They are talking about nuclear deal in that part of the world today, with Russia being involved. Of course, China also, maybe. So they are choosing partners that will give them better deal, not partners that will give them, or they chose foreign policies that will give them better deal, not foreign policies that will exploit the nation. So in so doing, we have seen that experimentally that the military takeover in Africa in the last decade, or the last half a decade, has been in favor of those who actually, called for it, the people of the country. Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, Mali. We know that there is a lot of terrorism going on, trying to scuttle the plans that they have put in place to develop the country and prioritize their local materials and citizens. There has been a lot of attacks on them, which they are grappling with, and I know that they are going to come out, out of all these challenges. It takes time to adjust, but now African Union suspending Madagascar from Africa, from its membership, is also something that is worrisome. Because if you ask the question, why is African Union suspending Madagascar? Because Madagascar decided to have a revolution and chase away the bad leader that has been there, that has never actually contributed anything positive to the Madagascar's economy or to the life of ordinary person on the ground, because the system was also established to only nourish the political class while always making it difficult for ordinary person like you and I to survive in such environment. But because the people has risen up and said that enough is enough, and lucky for them, military joined suit or followed suit. Eventually they have installed a military leader. Why would the African Union basically punish them for that? Does it mean the African Union talks about democracy, but they don't understand the real meaning of democracy? The real meaning of democracy is the game of number, where numbers take it. When the people come out and say enough is enough, enough is enough, because the number is there. Because the people of Madagascar, we saw them take to the street and protest against this leader, and the military joined. So that means whatever that is happening there is the will of the people, not the will of one person or one group of people in the presidency making a decision that destroys the chances of these people being great. So why would African Union take this step so quickly, swiftly? They never took a step to establish African free trade opportunity or zone. African free trade zone amongst Africans. It took them how many years of establishment in order to achieve that task of opening the border for movement of goods and services. It just gained momentum. It is not as if it has been established in full scale. It just gained momentum, and they are doing it regionally for now. African Union has been there since 2002, 9th of July. since its establishment in Durban, South Africa, on 9th of July. It has been there. What has it achieved? Do you think it has that moral standard to question the activities of the people in their various countries? Because coming together of the African leaders that is made up of African Union, or African Union consists of all these African leaders. What is their achievement prior to the time of their establishment? Is there anything that we will look at and say, no, these people did it, these people have achieved something? Because these, you can never change, person's behavior, no matter where you take them. That means that will tell us that the people that we've been recycling into African leadership or political space in Africa, they have been failures. Somehow, I'm sorry to say that, maybe yours might be achiever, but once we have known and come across, they have been failure. And that failure put together, how do you think that a leader who cannot actually think out of the box in order to fix his country inside that big map of Africa? You have a country like this, sitting like this in the country. You cannot actually make a decision to fix your country. Now you want to come together to make decisions that will fix the big Africa. Is that possible? That means we are recycling failures. And when the people decided that no, enough is enough, let's take a different approach, maybe it will solve our problem, because the problem we've been having is that we've been using the same techniques, we've been using the same approach. How do we expect to get a different result? Let's take into the street and revolt against this leader. Eventually he will capitulate and run away. We are going to install a military leader so that we will experiment that which has been helping the people of Burkina Faso, the people of Mali, the people of Niger Republic to thrive, to understand the importance of prioritizing local products. And they tried it. African Union is against it. Even though African Union is seeing how effective it has been for the people in the sub-Saharan Africa who took that approach. Because do you know why? It could be that the reason why they moved swiftly in order to basically sanction these people or like suspend them, maybe to satisfy the European community. That's the only thing I can say, to satisfy their European counterpart, because you cannot tell me that they don't understand that democracy is when people make a choice and that choice stand. Democracy is a game of number, and when that number comes out and say that enough is enough, and enough will be enough, because that is democracy. So they claim that they come together as a 2 or 50 or 40 something countries in Africa to understand and protect the democracy, yet they do not understand the democracy itself. Hence they have to now isolate Madagascar, because they have now suspended them. That means if there was a free trade zone, Madagascar might not be part of it anymore, part of that agreement anymore, somehow, because they are suspended from African Union. So those are the things we have to now investigate to find out exactly what is going to be the impact of it against the Madagascar community. Because every decision that these people are making, they do not consider the people. The only people they consider is the political class. You have scuttled the opportunity of our person being in Madagascar. Therefore, the whole country has to pay for it. The same way the whole Libya is paying for what happened to Gaddafi. One person, just because you did something we don't like, your whole country will pay for it. That's exactly, you take a decision that will make the whole country pay. Not considering the fact that it was the people who are installing the military leaders there. Now again, what has been the role of African Union prior to its establishment in 2002. What have they achieved in the past, more than 2 decades? What have they been able to achieve? I don't see anything. Free trade zone is still the same with wobbly leg. It has not been established or gazetted that everywhere will be free trade zone. Now, there is still a big division. And those who agree and those who does not agree log ahead all the time. There has never been a concrete decision or consensus reached that has ever helped us in Africa. It is always about the political class. I think Angola is the lead chair of African Union as it is now. So this decision falls in your table that all of you came together to basically, remove Madagascar from African Union just because they took an experiment that might change their life for better. That means African Union, are you guys there for the benefit of Africa, or are you guys there for the benefit of these leaders that are actually within that bloc? That's the question we need to understand. Congratulations to the people of Madagascar, because isolating you guys or suspending you guys will actually grant you exactly what a way to survive without them, because they will always use another Africa to scuttle the opportunity of Africa, another Africa. It has always been like that. The mistakes keep on circling back, keep on rotating. It will never be solved, because it is you against you, you against you. So when they isolate you, I guess you will take that mantle or that opportunity and fix your country and prioritize your local product, because the local product is what is going to grow your GDP, grow your economy, curb inflation, and every other thing. You are going to make it if you know that this military takeover is African, not European, because we saw the military takeover in Burkina Faso. It was African. Mali, African. Niger, African. Gabon, we don't know whether it is France or European military takeover somehow. Understand what I'm saying? So those ones, we recognize that there has been a change. There has been policies made that actually help the country to recognize the importance of their raw materials and recognize the importance of buying locals. So it is African military takeover. It is not Europeans. So now you have to now navigate, diversify, suffer, because you're gonna suffer. It's not going to come on a golden platter. It is going to be processed, just like Burkina, Niger, and all those people are doing today. Going through that process, but they are using terrorists to scuttle the chances of them having it on a fast pace. But they are winning the war, and they will continue to win. The mother Africa will be at their back, and the creator of all will always favor them, because they have taken a bold step to try something in different way, and I know that they are going to come out, victorious. But the question is you. What are you willing to do? Because you've been taking one approach, using the same type of approach, expecting different result. It does not work that way. If you want to get a different result, you need to change your approach. You need to change your tactics. What are you willing to do to know whether your generation to come are going to be better off like you are right now? Not to go and cross Mediterranean Sea in order to seek for greener pasture or see infrastructural development, or just to perceive where there is 24 hours, electricity. That's not what you want for your next generation, because things continue to get worse. Inflation is high across the globe. Everything is getting worse. Cost of living high, everything. Global recession. Look at all these things we are encountering, and think about in the next decade from now. If you used to buy something, maybe a basket with $100, basket of food with $100. Think about it right now. How much are you going to use $100 to buy? Think about it. Do the math. In the next decade, how is it going to be? It's going to get worse. We are not factoring those things into consideration. We just look, let's leave because people are screaming money now water. One day I am going to make it. Just like them. It doesn't work that way. Some of them are political friends, political class friends. So they get this opportunity. Do you think that if your country is made up of 200 million people, and let's say 10 million people are rich, you look up to them all the time, giving you hope that it is just one decision or one crime you have to commit, then you will make it. It doesn't work that way. You might end up even losing your life in that crime you have to commit to make it, right? That is how it is. So the most important thing we need to ask ourselves, how can we change our approach in order to get a better result? Just like we have seen what is happening in Nigeria today. Nnamdi Kanu rose up to change the approach to make sure that he gets different results, because the current system that you have fallen in love with the people of Nigeria is not working, and it keeps on scuttling the chances of you surviving in that country, because tribalism has become the pandemic or epidemic in that country or in Africa. Tribalism has become an epidemic or pandemic even in Africa. So with that tribalistic behavior of we Africans, how do we think that we are going to make it? How do you think that African Union is the key? Why do you think we are going to continue preaching Pan-Africanism, but we don't like each other? Because what we have as African continent is called artificial continent. What we have is artificial continent until we break that boundary of artificial continent and understand that we need to have natural continent, not artificial, not created continent, but continent that is created by God. And it is natural. That's the only time we are going to understand the importance of togetherness, because you have your territorial integrity. If we are going to come together, we have solved our differences, we have stitched our pants, we have all these holes, all these loopholes, we have solved them. We have solved that thing that places us into, loggerhead all the time, so that now we can actually form, we can say that we are forming multilateral relationship. This multilateral relationship that is going to enable us to do free trade, movement of goods and services, even people across the board, without looking for visa, without looking for anything. But we move from border to border at any time. You can, just like one of the people I respect so much, great Pan-African speaker, who said that you can wake up in Addis Ababa and sleep in Somalia. That's how we can make it. But first of all, we need to break that artificialism of the continent, or artificial foundation the continent is built on, and bring it back to what it is supposed to be naturally. That's what Nnamdi Kanu tried to do. He's not tribalistic, has never been tribalistic, but he calls you out for what you are. He loved everybody in Nigeria. He speaks on behalf of everybody in Nigeria. He wants a better deal for everybody in Nigeria. And for that to happen, he discovered that there is one loophole, and that loophole is tribalism. If we are able to come to a referendum table and ask each other, are we still brethren? So that if we say we are still brethren, then we restructure and continue. If we say we are no longer brethren, then we'll go our separate way. That is experimenting on different, using different types of experiment, looking forward to see which one is going to be compatible with us. That is, what human beings supposed to do. We are not animals. We are human beings. We need to find a way to navigate our problems instead of allowing that problem to continuously repeat itself. Therefore, Nnamdi Kanu come up with the request for a referendum, which Nigeria undermines and place him in captivity, because not only that he came up with a referendum, but he foresaw what is going to befall Nigeria, and we are seeing that today. The influx of terrorism into Nigeria, the plans for the Fulanis to dig Quran into the Atlantic Ocean to make sure that they, Islamized. We saw that Muslim ticket coming in, and we saw the terrorist is being pardoned. The real people who are calling for better deal for everybody is in jail. This has been the problem, because he wants to try something else. Many Africans are scared of trying a new thing. They're just comfortable in their waiting room. They're just comfortable. They're just in their comfort zone. And that's why we keep on getting results, that we are getting failure. I know when we do this type of discussion, Facebook want to limit us. It doesn't matter, but we are going to pass this information out there. The problem we have is problem of failure. We fail to do the experiment. We fail to try new things. We continue to recycle failure, recycling people who are failure into our leadership space, recycle people who have a bad antecedent into our leadership space, recycling people whom we do not know how they get into the position, but we just keep quiet. That means we have recycled them. At the end of the day, they gather in Addis Ababa. They gather anywhere where there is African Union. They gather, they make a decision that has never helped anyone in Africa, that has never helped any policies in Africa. Instead, they continue to, destroy the effort made by ordinary people. It continues to push people away from their homes to cross Mediterranean Sea and Sahara Desert to get to Europe. It brings division, because inadequate resources will always bring about fight. Who is getting what? What is this? We create animosity amongst each other when the system is a problem. Now, if we cannot come together and change the system, let's divide so that the system leaves us alone. That's how I understand it. We haven't been able to figure the system out in 3 decades, 4 decades, 5 decades, 6 decades, more than 6 decades. We haven't figured it out. Are we going to figure it out in a century? That's impossible. A fool at 40 is a fool forever. We use these rhetorics all the time. How do you think it is going to change in terms of you being pragmatic about the change that you are calling for, you are yearning for? You must be pragmatic about it. You must take a first step, because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. How do we take that first step? Nnamdi Kanu has taken the first step for the people. That's why the system apprehended him and placed him in a solitary confinement. Today, his medical condition was deteriorating. They had to now take him through Nigeria Medical Association, which Nigeria Medical Association, the president of Nigeria never believed in them. Governors never believed in them. Senators never believed in them. Local government chairman never believed in them. Even councils never believe in them, because they all go to abroad for their medical care. When they get headache, they have a diplomatic passport. They confirm their ticket. They go to the nearest hospital in Europe and America or India to go treat themselves. When it comes to Nnamdi Kanu, they're now depending on it to give them the accurate result when they never believed in it. But they want to believe in it on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu because he called for a better deal for everyone in Nigeria. He called for a referendum to decide whether or not we are still brethren. That's why they isolated him, because they don't want him to make people wise up. That's why it's because of Nnamdi Kanu you start seeing journalists requesting for accountability today. It is because of Nnamdi Kanu that people are speaking out. People knows they are right. That's why it was very important for Nigeria as a state and their system to take him out so that he couldn't influence you anymore. Because if he influences you more, you are going to take a step of revolution. And when you take a step for revolution, you are going to revolutionize everything that is bringing you backward. Because they don't want that revolution to occur. That's why they have to isolate him. That's why they have to entrust his life with the Nigeria Medical Association, which the first citizen of the country doesn't believe in. Second citizen of the country doesn't believe in. Third citizen of the country doesn't believe in. Then you want this man to believe in it. I am not saying that Nigeria Medical Association are worse, but ask yourself, if the leaders does not believe in it, how can you, a follower who they never ever wished good for, believe in it? Because they are not resourceful enough. The real doctors, the people who studied, they have run out of Nigeria to go and seek for opportunity out there. The remnants are the people you don't know who vetted them. You don't know how they were vetted, because it's all about political appointment. My friends, this is my friend. Whether he's a dropout in medical school is fine. We can place him in this department. Now we can make him a leading doctor in this hospital. Ill-equipped. When you give them money to equip the hospital, they eat it. They share it with the same person who gave it to them. That's the conundrum we find ourselves. Now think about it. Nnamdi Kanu's life cannot be trusted in the hands of the doctors that Nigeria leaders does not trust. The court in Kenya declared the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu unconstitutional, illegal. Then, what is it that we are talking about? Sowore is leading a protest on the 20th of this month, October. If you can, join that protest. We don't care about where it comes from. We don't care about who is actually leading the protest. What I care about is, let the protest begin. Because we know the system. We know the system. Let the protest begin. Right? Because I don't think we need to be looking for Messiah all the time. We don't need Messiah all the time. But if someone come to lead, let's see what he got. Let the protest begin in Nigeria on the 20th of October. Because the system will react, the system will fight back, and the evidence of it will be also registered. We know very well that the antecedents of the Yorubas against the Igbos, and the behaviors of Yorubas against the Igbos, not all Yorubas, some of them, not all of them, some of them. Some of them are tribal bigots. Just like some of Igbos are tribal bigots as well. So, Those tribal bigots, whom their parents told them to avoid Igbo man, the Igbo men are bad. Igbo men are very intelligent. You cannot compete with them. Instead, scuttle their chances of being there, even though you cannot make it to be there. Those are the tribal bigots amongst the Yorubas who are fighting the Igbos tooth and nail. Sometimes they become a chameleon to come and duck next to a rock. You would think everything is a rock without knowing that it's an animal next to a rock. So they continue to manipulate our minds, but we say no more. They can no longer manipulate us. Rather, anything they bring out, we weigh the option. How is it going to favor us? We join. We are not enemies. We are not friends. Right? Cannot be enemies. But we find a way to find a common ground because we all are facing the same problem, and that problem is Nigeria. So if Sowore decide to lead the protest, congratulations, Sowore. I know you are going to score a political gain. Yes, we are also going to score a political, exposure towards our cause. That's what we are looking for. That's why we are joining. We are not joining because we are gullible. We're not joining because you are basically going to, be the Messiah we are looking for. But we know at some point there must be a movement of the people. There must be, people on the ground walking around demanding for something that is being pragmatic about it. And the most importantly, the reason why I support that movement is those governors, those leaders, political leaders, traditional rulers, religious leaders who profess the desire to call for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, we are going to see how pragmatic they are about it, or how deceitful their word is to us. So we are experimenting. That's actually the reason why I love that idea. Let's find who is with us. Let's understand who is our enemy. Because you heard Nnamdi Kanu telling you that some of them will come as if they are your friend. You find out they are not your friend. Gini ekwensu na-eri nri jideli ogologo ngaji. Ose awu na ekwensu anwo onye Yoruba jideli ogologo ngaji. Mana osuro gini erikona ni maka gini a ga-erikona tanni. You will eat with the devil. You will dine with the devil, but hold a long spoon or a long fork, so that when you are, doing it, you are going to actually have a way to run or to use the fork to defend yourself because you are not close to them. That's how this thing works. We might be in a hurry to reject that which we're supposed to accept and accept that which we're supposed to reject. No, we are going to give it trial. We have already known that there is no love relationship among these two. Yes, let's do business relationship. Let's do political relationship. That's what we are doing. Sowore has been consistent in his course for revolution. We have been consistent in our cause for referendum. Right? So those two can actually coexist. They can tangle with each other. Let the movement start. Because after every reggae, you will play blues. After revolution, you will come to terms with referendum. Because we don't want a revolution where someone was removed and another was assigned. That's not what the one we want. A revolution that will end with a referendum, not the one that someone is removed and replaced, because we cannot continue to recycle failure. Political system is not working. Our voting system, or electoral system rather, is not working. It is based on who has the power more. It is based on who have the best, the baddest behavior, the worst behavior. That is how our political system is always set up. If your behavior is worse, political system, you are the favorite. If you have a bad antecedent, you are the first choice of our political system. If you are a person of non-questionable character, you are the last choice for the system. That's how it is designed. Because the people who make the leaders, they must have a leverage on you. Because that leverage will enable them to control you at all times. That's why. So in this regard, you will find out that there has never been a leader except Goodluck Jonathan, who was not a regular politician, that has occupied a position of office without having a bad antecedent. You will not see them. Almost, this is very popular in Africa, even in the world. So that's why we cannot depend on the court. The court that cannot, a court that undermines the ruling of another court. Kenya court declared the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu unconstitutional, not just unconstitutional, illegal. Illegal. So if it is illegal, that means the extraordinary rendition need to nullify the trial that Omotoshe is talking about, because Omotoshe cannot set a precedent where a court violate the international laws or violate a law in the name that we want to uphold the law. You cannot. You cannot rob Peter to pay Paul. That's not done. You will still, Paul is disgruntled. You are paying Peter not to be disgruntled. Then, tomorrow you rob Paul to pay Peter. You cannot do that. That's not done. So that's exactly what we are seeing. And we are not going to continue with this failure again. You can't. So, let the protest begin, just like we said. Another one, they have violated the laws, Constitution of Nigeria, international law, the laws in Kenya, local laws in Kenya. They violated it just to get a man who called for a better deal for the people of Nigeria in custody. They did that. And they could not actually have a prima facie evidence that will be, that can be admissible in any court that follows the rule of laws. It can only be established in a court that does not follow the rule of law. Jungle justice is a type of justice. So when we are getting a jungle justice, which is the same thing that the Nnamdi Kanu is being, given, jungle justice, then you will see this type of inconsistencies in their approaches. That's it. So let the protest begin. We cannot use our hair, we cannot shoot ourselves in the leg. They will say they tried. The northern person in Nigeria is calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Yoruba want to lead the protest of the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Igbo has called for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Everyone has done that. So now, is this still democracy? Why does Tinubu think that he knows better than more than 100 million people? Why does Tinubu think that he knows a better decision more than 100 million people from different ethnic groups? Why do you think he will believe he knows better? Because power belongs to the people. That's what they have to exercise. And you cannot tell me that because Sowore is leading the protest, eventually it is going to come back and not be a protest, or come back to be a problem for Igbos. No. We are going that protest. led by Yoruba man. Yes. He will score his card, we will score our own. Again, Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner of conscience. Terrorist is being given a linwe and olive branch in Nigeria. But those who actually unalive people, kidnap people, racketeer them, and then they negotiate with the government, coming to negotiation table with arms and ammunitions, and commanding the government, and commanding the the negotiation. If it doesn't work, they will continue their terrorism spree. That's what they've been able to do. No one questioned them. So the real deal now is we cannot continue to watch this type of inconsistencies coming from our leaders. We cannot continue to watch this type of selective amnesia coming from the Nigeria system or the leaders. We can't. We need to be consistently pragmatic, and the demand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, we can no longer sit and watch. The people have spoken. We do not believe in the justice system. Hence, we have seen the cases presented has no prima facie, no case submission. They actually turned down the no case submission because they just want to continue to make use of this delay strategy for Tinubu administration to run smoothly. Because the next thing we need to actually find out is Tinubu still alive? Because we don't see Tinubu coming to a live television for interview. We always see a pre-recorded video given to Nigeria. Pre-recorded video with a lot of edits, with a lot of edited pre-recorded video. Why? It's a question. It's not a claim. It's a question. Because these pre-recorded videos that we always see, Tinubu will be reading. We see that Tinubu is reading something in front of him, right? That's why he's always looking at, it always appears as if he's looking at the camera, but he's not looking at the camera. There's a lot of softwares that will enable you to read, and that software bring your eye contact straight to the camera. Those things are technology that has been achieved over the years under Fourth Industrial Revolution. So we know he's not that intelligent for him to, speak from his mind. No, he can't. It's impossible for Tinubu. We knew that was a, place in that office or imposed on us to be able to speak like that. We know something is in front of him. He's reading, but why is it always pre-recorded? Why is Tinubu not taking any, debate, not debate, even live interview, live session with journalists? Why? It's suspicious. It is suspicious. Because we see the same Tinubu go every other place. And he never went to Onga program. The same Tinubu never went to Onga UN National Assembly. He never went, he sent Shetima. So where is the Tinubu that was imposed on us? We know even if he doesn't know what to say, he say what he knows. In a live session. Where is he? So this is exactly the question we need to continue asking. Could that be the reason why he doesn't want to release Nnamdi Kanu? Because he might be the only one who will have that, line to communicate. We saw that happen in 2017. Buhari died in 2017. Was buried in shallow grave on the 17th of February 2017. And again, 2025, Buhari died again. We saw Buhari's wife mourn, wore black and black for her husband in 2017. We saw it again, the same way in 2025. Does it mean that It is our turn. It is our turn. Once someone died in power, they must complete their session, their tenure. Of course, you can see the Western, international bodies, they don't care because it favors them. And of course, they didn't say condolences to Buhari when Buhari finally, let's do this thing. They didn't say condolences to him because they knew they cannot say that twice. So that's exactly the question, begs the question, because Buhari, we used to know, comes to interviews, come to national television, and he speak eloquently. Right? But the next Buhari stopped doing recording, just like Tinubu is doing today. Recording, pre-recorded video, sending to us. When we know that there is artificial intelligence that can master your voice and they can actually study your voice, learn your voice, the only thing is that you plug the interface and use the mic that filters that voice to your original voice. So they could use it to make a president run for more years, even though they are no longer running. Even though they might be in sick bed somewhere, they will use AI. Somebody like create something, hyper-realistic mask, give it to someone, they will be wearing it, and you will think, but you're supposed to be suspicious about this man not coming to live television or not doing live sessions. That's by the way. I'm done talking politics. Let's talk about the things that just transpired, where Nigerians were presented with, where Nigerians were shocked by Very Dark Man. Of course, we know Very Dark Man has been the one who speaks on behalf of the people, and we rally behind him, we support him, we give him everything we have, just to make sure that Very Dark Man is not isolated by the system, because he was doing a great job. Now, it does not mean that when he does a bad job or wrong thing, we are going to fold our arms and say, no, it is Very Dark Man, we will ignore it. No, because we started ignoring our leaders from the beginning. That's why our leaders started messing up and get used to it, and today it is their right. We don't take that no more. Very Dark Man, you've been in China, even though you're supposed to be running your NGO. And I know that many Ratel members are following you because you are running an NGO. Many of them. And those are the ones that, them and reasoning is just like, it's just like the relationship between Iran and Israel. They cannot reason. Some of these Ratel members, they're following you. Some of them, they cannot reason. Some of them are very intelligent. When you excel, they reward you. Like me, I am one of the followers, one of the fans. When you excel, I reward you. I give you accolades. That's my way of reward. When someone come against you, I also fight against that person. Just like the newspaper is a Punch newspaper did. And I brought it out. I debunked it. Now, you have made a mistake. I am part of those who call you out. Very Dark Man, what you did is undone. You cannot sabotage someone's business in order to establish your sister, regardless of the differences you have with that person. Meanwhile, you are influencing Nigeria to go to a right direction. Therefore, you are not supposed to influence them in a way of using your influence to intimidate people, because that is exactly what the system is doing to Nigerians. The system gather momentum, gather influence. They use that influence negatively against the people. That is exactly what you did recently. You went to China. People cry that you went there to scuttle the business activities of a particular group who are known for being entrepreneurial, and then that cry, it didn't even take a week. In fact, it took months, because it took like 4 months. The last cry was when you went to China, right? The second time. So now, you just confirm that what they said might be true by picking on Igbo son. Picking on an Igbo son. Not just every Igbo son. This Igbo son is the only Igbo son that understands that charity begins from home. Who decided to take head of his business to his village and established there in the village. You decided that you will start the experiment with him. You could start it with anyone, and I am going to behave the same. It doesn't matter if you start it with a Hausa man, start it with a Yoruba man, I'm going to behave the same. I'm going to respond the same, because this is undone. You cannot sabotage someone's business in order to establish yours. That's what you did. You saw the guy advertising a phone that is a refurbished phone packaged in iPhone 17 Pro Max, and then you decided that now I am going to scuttle the opportunity that this guy has created for himself, and I'm going to take that glory to my sister. That cannot be done. It is unfathomable or unfathomable. Dude, the most important thing is that had it been you come up and advertise yours, say you have this phone at a cheaper rate, and if you look at one of those phones Very Dark Man put on, the second phone he put on, you find out it is a Chinese phone, not an iPhone. When you look at it, you saw the owning of it. The one he was doing like this, it was a Chinese phone, clone in that shape. The first one was an iPhone. The second one was a Chinese phone. Because if I want to now say, let me put on this phone. If I say, let me put on my phone, you will see Apple. If I put on this phone, you will see Apple here, right? You will see Apple here. If you see any other thing other than Apple here, that means it's a Chinese, it's a fake phone. It's not original. So, we know very well that that same phone B-Lord advertised was XR, iPhone XR. Is still iPhone, it has all the features of iPhone XR. Those features of iPhone XR can never be changed, even if you wear it a new cloth. It's just like you going to do a plastic surgery. You will never change whom you are. You just change your skin. So that's what they were able to do. But now, Chinese are also building a shape like that, and using the same casing to sell in the name of iPhone XR. So that's what Very Dark Man had. If you check the price of iPhone XR in Nigeria as of today, you'll find out that it's around 375,000 UKUs. UKUs, 375,000. Original iPhone XR. It is within 250 to 375,000, depending on their, condition. And I want you to know, especially all these big iPhones, I can easily go to the shop and decide that I want to trade in. I'm using it, it is still clean. I can say I want to trade in. I go to iPhone shop. I say I want to trade in for a newer version, because this is the latest version. If I want to trade in for a newer version, what I'm going to do is take it in. They will take the phone, evaluate it, how clean is it. They will now, you pay the difference in order to take the newer phone. That's how it works. iPhone, I accept trade in, but it must be original iPhone. There are different versions of iPhones. So this one I got from iPhone store. So whenever I want to basically say, I don't want this phone again, I can easily go and trade in and get a better version. So they will clean it, they will sell it back to a person as a new, brand new. Because if they see the battery is no longer lasting the way new iPhone is supposed to last, they bring a new original iPhone battery and install here. If the covers are not clean, they bring a new cover and install here. They will sell it as a brand new iPhone. If it is not, because they don't sell second hand, they don't sell used. The ones that are already having some, electrical problem, they push it to the market auction. They don't sell it. So most of the time you go to iPhone store or any store, big companies that are iPhone approved, you might not be getting yourself a brand new iPhone. It is second hand, but well taken care of. Sometimes you get a brand new if they run out of stock. So that iPhone XR that Very Dark Man was showing you was not original. One of them, the first one was original. The rest of them is not original. Now iPhone XR is between 260,000 naira to 375,000 naira. That is the price UK used to Nigeria. You can look it up. We know that in Nigeria we have many phones that looks like iPhone, but they are not iPhone. Yes, of course. There are many phones that look like iPhone. They are not iPhone. Of course, I was one of them who I'm a phone engineer because I did electrical and electronics engineer. Of course, you can't get a job in Nigeria. I decided to try other things. I went into phone. That's why I'm able to know some of these things that I'm telling you. I was a phone engineer. So, it is still one of my hobbies. I don't go to shop to fix my phone. When my phone is damaged, I fix it myself. If I don't have insurance on it, I fix it myself. So I still do open phones. I still look at phones. I still know phones. So the phone he showed you, all of them were not original XR. The first one was. Second one was not. Go back to that video. Go back to that video, you will see. Now again, iPhones XR that is used, if it is the original iPhone XR, you think about it, the used one, UK used ones. You can Google it, around 260, 375,000. You bring it out. You remove the cover, you change it into iPhone 17 Pro Max casing, buy a cover to it, buy everything, new battery, put a charger to it, and you are telling me you are going to sell it 280,000. Because people does not know there are different grades that Chinese can make for you. If you go to China, anything you want can be done. As long as you give them the prescription of what you want, they can do it for you. That's exactly. So they can do this phone for me the same way, just like you saw. They have done that phone, make it look like iPhone XR. Many of them are not XR. Many of them are true refurbished. XR, you just remove the cover, put the cover, change the battery, put the battery, put the original iPhone charger. So all that, think about the price. How much is our iPhone charger? The cable. Remember, original iPhone does not come with, it does not come with a charger head. It comes with only cables, right? It comes with only cables, sometimes cables like this. That's what it comes with. Now, if it comes with C-type cable up and down, especially this latest phone, it comes with C-type cable. Both sides are going to be this way. Now, if you get that original charger, how much do you think you're going to pay for original iPhone charger? Then you factor that in, factor the casing in, factor the box in, factor the charger in, factor everything in, the cleanliness of the phone, and you are telling me you are selling it 280 when the used ones are sold 375 as a UK used, because they have different grade. Chinese use is different, UK use is different, because they have different use. That's why you say some of them are heating up, because it's not original. Original iPhone does not heat up. It is not original. Those are the type of the types of quality that you bought. If this phone start heating up tomorrow, I take it back to the iPhone store and get another one, because it has, warranty. If they cannot fix it, if it is something that cannot be fixed without actually damaging my phone, they will give me a new one. That's the way it works. Now think about it. Lord selling his phone 450,000. It might be that his phone contained iPhone XR. You never checked. I never checked. But I am telling you the possibility that will make him sell that phone, that amount, that can, not will, can. It might be opposite. It might be that he was greedy, but no matter what it is, you never bought that phone with him. You do not know the source of his phone. You have never checked the quality of his phone, because if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know, this particular type of business, going to China and advertising for Chinese companies does not make you expert in those things you are advertising. You're just advertising for them. You don't know the qualities of these things. It is only those who are into the business that understand the qualities of these things. You cannot be an activist, an NGO, and you go out there trying to show people the price regulation. You cannot do a price regulation in Nigeria. You are not a government. If Jerry Darkman begin to call government out to regulate the price of goods and services, that is when Jerry Darkman is doing a great job for everyone. But when he single out one person and they say that the person is using too much profit to sell a particular product, and that product, he was interested in selling it himself, and he decided to basically destroy the face in front of more than 2 million people that are following him. That is a provocation. That is being an agent provocateur. That's exactly the act of provocation. That's exactly what he did. People get on alive because of that. Right? That's an act of provocation. There is no way you can justify such illiterate act that he actually carried out. You cannot justify it. Regardless of how much you hate somebody, regardless of how much you hate Lord, regardless if any educated human being on planet Earth justify very dark man action, you should go and verify that person is uneducated. They just happen to maybe speak eloquently. If they justify, they saw such act as a justifiable act, you have a very big problem. The only way that act should be justified is if you happen to see how much Lord bought his phone, and you do the plus and minus, and you can only advise him, you cannot command him. It's a businessman. Prices were not regulated, so it's not his fault. He's also a victim of this, price irregularities. He's a victim because he will still buy something else. If Nigeria has a competition commission, like, who makes sure that everything has its own, price, regulate the price of everything, fuel in the pump. That's why different garages, different filling stations, they sell different different amounts because there is no price regulation. If there was, very dark man, you didn't need to go and destroy his business. You need to go and go through competition commission and sue him. Then he will return all the exploitation he did to the people. But there is none of these things, none of this system established. But now you are experimenting on an individual who is also grappling because of the same system. And you tell us that it is justifiable. Some of you who does not know, about business, you want to tell us it is justifiable. There is internet today. Before you buy anything, you need to make a research. Dude, ignorant is not an excuse of you being, buying something that is not worth it. Ignorant is not an excuse. So making use of your influence to scuttle the billionaire, it's the young billionaire, it's uncalled for. You are setting a bad precedent. You are creating a war zone in Nigeria. And you're claiming that you want to rescue people. You want to influence people to do the right thing. No, you are not influencing anyone to do the right thing. You are basically monopolizing. You want to use your influence to scuttle people's chances of, benefiting from their businesses. That's what you were doing. And that is not done. Again, this image here, this image you see here, is where you were talking about B-Lord advertising his bill point, telling you that first users of bill point can use this bill point to buy airtime of 10,000 for 9,000. You calculated how much. You don't know his strategy of how he is actually doing his marketing. You don't know the number of people who are targeted for that marketing, for that specials. You don't know the number of people he's targeting. You calculated it and you claim that he is collecting data. Very dark man, you are an illiterate. I don't think you speak eloquently, but doesn't make you an educated person, because a lot of people measure education with the quality of English or quality of vocabulary you use in writing or in your speech. That's what people call education. No, some people are not outspoken. I was not outspoken. I started learning how to be outspoken. I literally taught myself how to speak English. That's why there is always a lot of inconsistencies in my English. Now, in this regard, you find out that you behave like an illiterate. Like, seriously, you behave like an illiterate, very dark man. The way you interfere in people's businesses, meddle in people's affairs, even in their personal life, behave like an illiterate. Like you are doing good when it comes to, influencing people to stop taking people's things by force, influencing people to have a good competition. You do good in that area. You do good in speaking up for people who cannot speak up for themselves. And this is not part of it. The only way you can speak up for people who are actually grappling with the crazy price or price tags that they place on products is calling on the government to regulate. And for government to regulate, they have to now consider their cost price of this clearing and forwarding. What do you call that? The custom, how much they charge. When you are clearing your goods, they have to start there to regulate. From there, they now need to create an organization that checkmates all the product and the prices, because it also it is a key drive to inflation as well. We know that. But if the government does not know who am I or who is B-Lord, if the government doesn't consider that, because of their incompetent you want to come and consider it on behalf of the people. No, call for the government to regulate. Because you just want to create a bloodbath in the business sector. That's what you are trying to create, but people don't know. The phone you showed and your price shows a fake phone. It's not the original XR. It's those ones that heat up. That's what you showed us from China. The one that your sister, you want to establish for your sister, that's the same phone. Here, you cannot continue to say you want to collect data. Is he collecting data? Are you aware that your data has been collected by the owner of Google and Microsoft? Are you aware that your data has been collected each time you purchase an app from a phone? Your data has been collected. Why do you want to now, scrutinize so much your brother that is doing business of data collections? Why do you scrutinize it so much, but you don't scrutinize Bill Gates, Elon, and all these people who collect your data? You don't scrutinize them, but you want to scrutinize your brother. Isn't that the reason why I say that you behave like an illiterate? I don't know if you went to school. Like, seriously. It's not even funny. He is doing B point. Bank is collecting your data. Banks, you see, is established by a person like this that will grow his bill points, eventually open a bank. So when this guy open a bank, you will tell people don't go to support him in his bank because he will be collecting your data and information. And you do that because you want to destroy the source of wealth of this young man out of jealousy. That's not done. So whatever you want to think about it, it is not done. Take it or leave it. Take it to the bank. You will still see me telling you it is not done. And I happen to like B-Lord because he's the only Igbo man who is a billionaire who is based home. He recognized where he come from and he established where he come from. That's why I like him so much. His prices might be crazy, might be greedy, but let the government regulate if there is government. Except if you are telling us there is no government. Then you tell the people what to do if there is no government in order to have a government. That's the only way you can help the masses, not creating a bloodbath in the business sector. That is illiterate, like seriously. So this is where I'm going to leave it. I know that Facebook will continue to limit us when we come to speak the truth. But however it is, we will continue. It's not just Facebook, all the media platforms. When you talk politics, that will help people to grow, that will help people to be free from this, economic disaster, from this economic stagnancy or economic stagnation. You will find yourself being banned, shadow banned. That's what we have seen over the years. But we continue to push until something happens. This is where I'm going to live in. Madagascar. If that coup was African coup, congratulations. If it is orchestrated by another external influence, get ready to continue your suffering again. Just like Gabon. But we have seen that the majority of the nations which carried out military coup, they are doing better than those who are still under democracy. And then evidence is there, whether you like them or not. If you continue to listen to what the mainstream is telling you, you will never economically emancipate yourself, because the mainstream tells you what they want you to know. They want you to register in your mind. That will be beneficial to the higher institutions that exploit you through your incompetent leaders. That's the way it is. This is where I'm going to leave it until we meet again. 20th of October, we are joining that protest. Even if it is not physically, we are going to join it. Give our support, however it is. Whatever support, we're going to give our support. So, until we meet again, I don't know what might be your take on the protest, but we are joining. Until we meet again, bye for now.